A short but powerful ceremony on Friday in Dallas, Texas, as the United States marks the 50th anniversary of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The popular young U.S. president was killed in his prime less than 3 years into his presidency. Just hours ago, thousands attended a ceremony commemorating his life and death. Jay Gray begins our insight.
Mike, good to talk to you. It's been a somber, a solemn day here in Dealey Plaza, the place where President Kennedy's life was taken from him, and now thousands have gathered to honor his legacy.
We, the people of Dallas, honor the life, legacy, and leadership of the man who called us to think not of our own interest, but of our country's.
America. The temperature and rains fell, but could not keep out those drawn here by the emotions of what happened a half-century ago.
Gone but not forgotten is the old expression for departed heroes. But if not forgotten, they are not gone.
The images and his profound words have kept the Kennedy legacy alive since his death. And today, the city of Dallas unveiled this plaque, text from the speech he was never able to deliver here.
We in this country, in this generation, are by destiny rather than choice the watchmen on the walls of world freedom.
Yeah, such a painful, emotional day for so many in this city and across the country still, even 50 years later. Many of them turning out, as we bring in Ginger, my colleague here, showing up, as you've talked about, despite this weather, still emotional about what's happened. It was such an influencing factor in so many lives.
Oh, it's very moving to see, you know, thousands of people here despite the rain, despite the 30-degree temperatures. People have come out here to celebrate the legacy, commemorate the JFK memorial. And, you know, we are seeing people coming from all over the world. Over 5,000 tickets have been granted for the public to attend. Over 600 people from the media here. And a lot of the folks we've talked to today, they can remember the exact second of what they were doing when they heard that JFK had been shot just 200 feet from where we are standing today.
They're the gunshots that changed the United States and possibly altered the course for the world.
Give me all available information on President, over.
Deadly.
Rarely heard recordings from November 22, 1963, the U.S. Air Force Command Center speaking with the president's plane, as well as the White House.
Wayside, this is Situation Room. I read from the AP Bulletin, Kennedy apparently shot in head. He fell face down in back seat of his car. Blood was on his head. Mrs. Kennedy cried, "Oh no," and tried to hold up his head.
These recordings were found in the personal belongings of U.S. General Chester Clifton, Jr., a one-time military aide to President John F. Kennedy.
That is correct. That is correct.
The military used code names to discuss what was happening, including one for Kennedy's vice president, nicknamed Volunteer.
We're waiting for the swearing in at the plane before takeoff. That's a Volunteer?
The moment when Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in as president was captured in a single frame. That's President Kennedy's wife, Jacqueline, her husband's blood still on her pink suit. Once in the air, the recordings capture President Johnson passing on his condolences to Kennedy's mother, Rose.
I wish you thought there was something that I could do, and I wanted to tell you that we were grieving with you.
Yes, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know you love Jack and he loves you.
The man police say shot JFK was Lee Harvey Oswald. It was 12:30 in the afternoon. The former U.S. Marine instantly fled his perch on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository building. He boarded a city bus and made his way to a cinema in the suburbs. He encountered a police officer along the way.
He went to where Officer Tippett was, shot him, and then headed in this direction and ended up in the theater. Sat in the back of the movie War is Hell. Police came in, and that's where they caught him.
The cell where Oswald was held for 2 days is still standing. On November 24, 1963, as Oswald was being led out of the cell to a county jail. A local bar owner named Jack Ruby pulled out a gun and shot Oswald. A single shot pierced his stomach. Oswald later died at Parkland Memorial Hospital, the same hospital where just 2 days earlier, President Kennedy had died.
As you can see from the thousands of people here today celebrating and commemorating the legacy of JFK, people are very, very passionate still about the legacy of JFK and are moved and are continuing to participate. Here I bring my colleague Jay in.
Yeah, it's interesting, I think, to see the different range of emotions that so many people have here today, to see how many people are still so affected by what happened here 50 years ago. And you can't help but think, in all this weather that you've talked about, the rain, the cold weather, if these conditions had existed 50 years ago, would we even be here right now? There would have been a roof on that car, and so many things would have been different. So it's amazing how tenuous history can be, and what could have and would have been. This wasn't a day of thing. It wasn't a week thing. It was something that this country was in mourning for a long time, and I guess in some ways still very much so in mourning.